Welcome to TalkScript, the official podcast of TSConf. I'm your host, Anthony Ciccarello.
I'm your co-host, Sam Menza.
And today we are speaking with Ron MacCracken from Centric Software about his team's use of TypeScript. So hi, Ron. Welcome to the podcast. Thanks for talking with us. Can you tell us a little bit about Centric?
Sure. Thanks for having me. Centric's basically an enterprise a company that makes enterprise software for the PLM space, so product lifecycle management. Basically what that means is, helping companies build their product lines from kind of concept to all the way through to, ready for production. There's other software that handles kind of, side of things, but we basically, deal with, sketches, importing sketches to determine what kind of materials go into the products. Mostly it's for apparel, but we're branching now out to multi-category retail, so all kinds of different products. So basically just figure out materials, suppliers, costs, planning. There's a lot that goes into it. So it's a pretty large application, lots of challenges for, a lot of data importing, exporting, to other systems, a lot of complex logic and complex UI. So, and I've been there for almost 25 years, so almost a dinosaur, but it's a great place, it's been a great place, and there's always things to do and challenges to meet, so.
That's great. So for the Centric team, what is the number one benefit that TypeScript brings to your team and enables you to deliver?
I think, we're just rolling it, we're just starting to roll it out. But I think, the number one is probably just going to be time, just because it's a large application, so it's not necessarily it's a fairly quick reload, but it's probably larger than, most applications. So any mistakes you make typing and then having to load the application to check it out and do things like that, anything we can do to kind of reduce the iterations we go through to do that, will save us time. So, I'm finding as we start using this, I'm just doing so much more in the editor, finding, problems or, mistakes or whatever, just letting it find the mistakes for me, and autocomplete and all those kind of things just help, reduce the time and the iterations to get a feature done. There's lots of other things. I think, because we have so many different developers working in the same areas, and we basically, as part of our product, built kind of our own framework. Over time, if you don't have TypeScript, you don't have the typings in there, and so other developers have to, kind of discover what the types are and know how to use it better. So the more that we can kind of mandate the types and check the types and make sure that others are using, what we're producing more easily and more quickly, I think that helps a lot too.
Yeah, so it sounds like that aspect of being able to communicate across your team what the intentions are, and also just being able to get that quick feedback as you're developing, even before you load up the application and dive to the piece that you're testing. You can get that quick feedback.
Right. I'm finding a lot less, just simple bugs, simple mistakes. It's more logical problems and stuff, which are, the more interesting ones to solve anyway. So yeah, I'd rather spend more time on that than just spending time, needlessly reloading the application for small errors.
So for yourself, what's the aspect of TypeScript that you personally enjoy the most, whether that's maybe some new ES Next features that you get to take advantage of, or that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. We up until about a year ago, we were still supporting IE11, and we weren't using anything like Babel or any kind of transpiling to use those, to be able to use those advanced features. So we're definitely loving being able to do optional chaining and knowledge coalescing and different things like that just, are coming out brand new, and we just get to start taking advantage of them almost immediately. So that's definitely great. And we're still getting used to it. I still find myself doing it the, previous way plenty of times and have to correct myself or remember. But yeah, we're really loving that part of it as well. It's like we just get to, when we see new shiny things out there on the web, we can just start using them. So that's also a great feature.
Yeah, that's definitely fun to be able to take advantage of those.
Yeah.
Sam, you want to jump in with a question?
Yeah, so I know you just talked a bit about how, what benefits TypeScript brings to the team, but I'd also be curious to know what the greatest gains, I guess, like what you think the best or the greatest gains are for your team after adopting TypeScript.
I think, like I said earlier, being able to know what the others, intentions are and just know how to use the API. But another thing that I was thinking of we're doing now is we're implementing a new design system, and we're adopting Material UI as, kind of the base of that. But we're having, we're going to extend it and change it up a little bit and stuff. And so to extend the components, you basically have to take their types and build on them. So, the TypeScript has a whole bunch of utility types, that let you basically build on or omit certain properties of the component, or use partial to kind of will dynamically create the properties that are required on our component and pass those through to Material UI. So those, and we're definitely using the utility types a lot to extend and overwrite some of the things that Material UI does. So that that's definitely a great benefit, and make sure that we're using their components correctly, and then make sure we're building our own components correctly and stuff. So we definitely get a benefit out of that, and that's something because we're doing it from the ground up right now. Every new feature we have basically introduces new components to that library, so it's kind of a daily thing that we're dealing with right now. So I'm using that a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, I know this can be pretty helpful, and it can give like a lot of flexibility in the code base. So yeah, I've also found those quite useful in TypeScript. Another question we have is, what is some advice you would give somebody who is looking to migrate to TypeScript?
That's a good question. We're still in the middle of it. So, I think if you have the time to, convert, we have a large code base that's been generated over 10 years. So if you have the time to rewrite, some of the core modules that you have, just rewrite them fully in TypeScript from the ground up, then, I think that'll save time down the road. We're more because we're kind of on tight schedule to, deliver features quickly. We're kind of doing it more on the fly, so we're having to generate the type declaration files kind of, bit by bit, function by function, and instead of kind of rewriting these core modules in full. So, the approach we're taking takes a bit more time, and, as you encounter each new function that you're using in TypeScript, you have to, deal with it. But so if you have the time to spend, I'd recommend that approach. I think as soon as we get, a little bit of time to breathe, we'll, do some of that ourselves and just start rewriting some of them fully. But we're kind of nearing the end of the release. So at this point, we're, just doing it as we go. I think the other thing is, definitely look into, read the docs and, at least get an introduction to a lot of the features of TypeScript, like the utility types and things like that. Because, if you don't know that they're out there, then you won't think to use them. But a lot of stuff is there, and I'm sure there's lots of stuff I haven't discovered yet, that's that I could start taking advantage of. But yeah, definitely get a good overview and good, kind of good knowledge of what it provides, what's out there, and keep up to date on all the new releases and release notes, just to get an idea of what's out there, so that that you can use it later on.
Totally. And I know like initially, like I feel like sometimes you can get pushback for having to like build up a whole component from the ground up with TypeScript, but like I think knowing the benefits of that and how it can really save you time and produce like less bugs in the future can be like super beneficial, like what you were saying. So I think that's pretty good advice. I think Anthony, did you want to wrap us up or?
Yeah, I would add on to that. I think right now, with the latest updates to the TypeScript website, some of the documentation is really easy to navigate, and it's even from when I started learning, it's a lot easier to pick up and a lot more content to read and navigate on the TypeScript website. So for people just getting into it, it's a great time to pick that up and kind of learn piece by piece. So
right, yeah.
So thanks for joining us, Ron. It's been great talking with you, and I want to thank listeners. Be sure to check out the TalkScript podcast at TalkScript.fm. You can also follow us on Twitter at TalkScript, and thanks and enjoy the conference.
All right, thank you. Thanks for having me.